Well, Barry, I just got finished recording with Hanok in what we call Where in the World is Hanok Young? And now we go to Where in the World is Barry Phillips?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week thus far, Mike. Laura and I drove down to our hometown in Martinsville, some 4.5 hours away from home, and spent some time with my mom, give my siblings a little bit of a break as to
Mm-hmm.
the caregiving thing, and
Yeah.
spent yesterday with my brother in 106-degree relative heat, trying to repair a kitchen door. That was very, very interesting process. Two guys who not carpenters by trade, but it's done. So
I wasn't going to say that, I was just going to,
yeah,
but
um,
since you did.
I can do a little bit. Greg did a little bit. We figured it out as we went and kind of chopping out the old that was damaged and putting in new that's different sizes. In 1940s, early 1950s, when this section was built, they used 2x4s that were actually 2 inches by 4 inches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a reason it was called a 2x4. Yeah.
A 2x4 today is not actually 2 inches by 4 inches. It's
Mm-hmm.
something a little different. Anyway, my brother-in-law Larry, that's the amazing repair guy, came in and rescued us at the end. But we got her done, only to find out that she had a major water leak under the house that who knows how long it's been going on, because it's in a part of a. This is the basement where no concrete floor; it's the earth floor,
Yeah.
and I mean it's just basic dugout. It's not flat or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway. No telling how long that's been running like that. So now I'm at my sister's house in the basement.
Okay.
Um,
Well, Barry, I just got one word to give you for all the things that are happening to your over there at your mom's house.
was that?
Conspiracy. It's all a conspiracy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
brother, if you'll just look into the scriptures, you'll be able to find all kinds of different verses to prove the fact that it is a conspiracy.
Well, they found out Mama was watching Fox News, and
Uh-oh.
they're
So yeah,
they're after him, Mike. They're after.
they're no doubt after her. Okay. Well, Barry, this brings us to what we want to try to play with, do something with today. A verse that you wanted to bring up. I'm going to let you do that one in a moment, but I'm going to bring up first of all a verse um, that I read this morning. I'm reading through right now the book of Mark, and it is a very familiar passage in chapter 8, in which Yeshua is standing there with the disciples and saying, "Who am I? Who do men say that I am?" And they give all these answers, and then he says, "But who do you say that I am?" Kepha, Simon Peter, looks at him and says, "You are the Mashiach." To this, and he says that I'm going to be killed, be put to death, but after 3 days I will rise again. Kepha rebukes him, and Yeshua says to him, "Get behind me, Satan." Okay, that's the verse. That's the part of the verse that's normally quoted regarding this. But I find the rest of the verse intriguing. It says, "For you are thinking, your thinking is from human perspective, not from Elohim's
Uh,
perspective."
yeah.
I have to ask the question, as I just spilled my coffee all over the place. I have to ask, including on my Bible. It's not the first time it's had things spilled on it. I have to ask the question: in current events, are we thinking from a human perspective or from his perspective? And how important is that?
Uh, how do I? I think the word would be filter.
Okay.
Uh, everybody has their own filter composed of their own perspectives, personalities, worldviews, human experiences, etc.
Mhm. Mhm.
Way you were raised, your value.
Sorry, I'm cleaning up here as you're
Yeah.
talking.
Go ahead, get you a mop there, bro. So we interpret through our particular filter. I used to interpret everything through an American Western mindset filter.
Church of God,
A Church of God.
American. Yeah.
Yes, Pentecostal. There was a very thick filter, and everything was related to when is the rapture happening.
Hmm.
Now my filter has shifted a bit, and it's more Hebraic values, Hebraic viewpoint, kingdom filter, feast day filter, Shabbat filter, all of those
Mhm.
things. And, it recently began to kind of explore it with okay, we have been on this angle with you for these last 20 plus years. Am I missing things about Messiah because I'm
Mhm.
tunnel visioned here? Do I need to adjust my vantage point just a little and see more about how Messiah relates to the nations as opposed to just Israel? I mean, exactly where does this question even lead me? Where are we going with this? But in Isaiah, as you referenced earlier, I came on this verse a few years ago. Of course, you read it previously, but then you read it and it jumps off the page.
Mhm.
Um, begin with verse 11 out of Isaiah 8. For Yahweh spoke thus to me with a strong hand and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people.
Mhm.
Just what you were referencing. You're thinking of the thoughts of men, not Elohim. Do not walk in the way of this people, saying, do not say a conspiracy concerning all that this people call a conspiracy, nor be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. Yahweh of hosts, him shall you set apart. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread.
Mm.
So the instructions here is we're not to be guided by, influenced by, and make our decisions based on whatever the latest conspiracy might be. Um, we we tend to take an inch and make a mile out of it quite often.
And then post all that on Facebook.
Well, if you can generate a stir of some sort on Facebook, on any social media, posting a YouTube video, getting a local congregation stirred up over something, um, you can have a little bit of attention and bright lights for 10 seconds.
Mhm.
And
So,
there are people who really crave that. I don't want to
oh
be
yeah.
unknown. I don't want to hide in the shadows.
Mhm.
Everybody else is doing it. And I'm going to get my piece of the pie. I'm going to make a statement. Throwing bombs out there in the media world and having people get tied in knots over it. That's baiting. Actually, Mikey, it comes down to manipulation and control.
Mhm.
And that's actually a form of witchcraft. So we need to
Mhm.
stop casting our spells on the pages and getting people to respond to them.
Well, I go back to my statement regarding social media is that social media is for those who aren't. Um, I mean, that really puts it into perspective. What began this conversation is, of course, you and I talked, I think it was Sunday late morning, regarding the attempted assassination on former President Trump.
Uh-huh.
And it took moments on until, social media and everybody started blowing up all kinds of things. I have seen everything online from People are equating this now to Exodus and the bondservant that has his ear pierced, the blood applied to the right ear of Aaron the priest. One person is saying that this bullet anointed former President Trump to now be a prophet to the nations and a priest to the nations. The other one said that the bullet pierced in the ear is about ownership, and now he is owned by Satan. I don't know that you can find anything in the middle of any of that. It's just it is so crazy of what is there. So Barry, I'd like to first of all give my definition. This is the first time ever given my definition, because I came up with it this morning. Is it possible that conspiracy can be defined as Yah moving outside of our understanding?
Yeah, I can see that angle. I'm just sitting here thinking, Yah moves outside our box of expectation and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to make up a legend as to try to define and rationalize it enough for us to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, he does the conspiracy, we do the conspiracy theory. We add the theory to it.
Yeah. It's his events. Okay. Interesting enough, on Shabbat, this past Shabbat, I stood up in front of Life Assembly and I said, how many of you believe that Yah is in charge of everything that's going on, that he knows the end, he declared the end out of the beginning? How many of you believe that? Well, of course, everyone in the room, hands went up. I said, now, how many of you really believe it? And I kind of said, well, of course, everybody's still, okay, yeah, we believe that. But are our actions regarding events that are happening backing up our statement of belief that he is in control?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I took this to the point of springing off a teaching that you did, is that the Hebrews standing there close to the Jordan River, about to cross over, they just have one river and one sermon of Moses to get through, and they'll be into the promised land, into Canaan. But they became frustrated. After 38 years of eating manna, they became frustrated. Moshe entered into that frustration, and it cost him the entrance into the land. And so I said, here's my words: do not be surprised at the events that will happen in the next days, weeks, and months. And I said, do not allow yourself to become frustrated over what is happening. And it would be a couple of hours later that we would watch the attempted assassination.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming back to the kind of my same mantra that I've gone through for many years, and you have too, of the concept that his eye is always upon Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and so that everything else is in his peripheral vision.
I thought about this earlier this morning.
Okay.
I went upstairs and Mom had Fox News on, and of course they were going, in depth about the convention, Republican convention, and recent assassination attempt. And I happened to think, what else is going on in the world that we're not focusing on? That is, and it's not to say that the items that they're talking about is not relevant and have some sense of importance. They do.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But for the limited audience, primarily of America, Yes, America has international influence. I understand that. But at this moment, uh, people are, either I wish he hadn't missed or I'm glad he did miss.
Yeah,
And
and that's, I mean, I know people that might as well have said online, "Wow, he missed." I wish that the ball, the bullet would. I had somebody yesterday tell me, their wife, when they saw this thing happen, said, "Oh, it's too bad it didn't hit him." I just looked at the guy and said, "Is that what we come to?"
I don't want anyone to do any harm to President Biden
No.
or to any member of Congress or the Supreme Court or local anything. That you only push buttons that you cannot unpush. I mean, we do not want to go back to the violence of the mid to late 1960s and the
No.
upheaval of all of that. I remember as a kid, you know, being hearing all of the shootings and so forth. Um, that was a tragic time, and no, we don't want to repeat that. Here we are, Mike. Let's put this in some real practical application here. As has been said, to the nth degree, a turn of the head, a slight fraction of a different angle of the head, and Donald Trump would be dead. We would be looking at a completely different world at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Did Yah cause him to change the angle of his head? Either that or he moved the bullet or something. I don't, whether you like Trump or don't like Trump or just completely oblivious about him, evidently Yah is not finished using the man for whatever design and purposes that might be, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't know. I don't know the future. So I'm thankful that life was spared. I'm saddened that life was taken. Because while people were focusing on Donald Trump, there was the brave man that covered his family and took the bullet and was killed. That being understood now, okay, now what? Well, we can try to figure out. Look, eventually it'll come out how things unfolded, or else it'll be relegated to the JFK style files and no one will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean about Yeshua? Yeshua is returning. The kingdom is coming.
Okay.
While we are microscoping this most recent event, the world's still turning, people still dying and having conflicts the world over. Hezbollah is rallying itself up to make major attacks on Israel. Israel is still in the throes of Gaza and determining how much retaliation and response needs to be in the north. The government still has its ups and downs and ins and outs, as it always does. In the middle of all that, our brother Yehuda is trying to figure out when does the merry-go-round slow down enough for me to get off here? When does life become any more resembling usual for us, whatever that might be in Israel? What about our future? Are these the days of Mashiach? Where is he? Where is he coming from? And they're dealing with all of that. That's as important, if not more so, than anything that we're dealing with here in Virginia or North Carolina. So Yah is saying, you can try to figure all of this out, or you can get before my face and seek me, and I'll tell you what your next steps are. I rarely get anything beyond the next step. And I have to trust him that if I take this next step, as awkward or unexplainable as it might be, that he will give me a step beyond that. And it may take a month or so to get the next step, and I'll just have to sit in whatever issue that I might have at the moment.
Hmm. I think it comes down to something very simple, Barry. In Hebrew, there are two words for why.
Yeah.
One is lama, one is lima, and I can't remember which one is which. But one of those words is why, as far as, well, why did this happen? I just don't understand. Why is this happening to me? That goes to anything that can happen in life. You get into a car accident, you have a bad report at a doctor or whatever. Why is this happening to me? What have I done wrong? And I hear that from people. The other word is, for what purpose is this happening? It's very important for us in our day to begin to understand that asking the question, why is this happening to me, is really irrelevant in the scheme of things in the world. Why is it happening? Because you were born. Because you were born at this time. That's why these things are happening to you. So let's moving on from there. For what purpose? So when we see things happening, whether it is a debate that goes pretty much haywire for one candidate, or an attempted assassination, for what purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Now, today, many of those that would be Trump supporters, kind of boil everything down to a saying: "Make America Great Again."
Mm-hmm.
MAGA. Those that are in that camp are known as the extremists. I'm not going to go into all the politics that are behind that, but I would like to look at things not from a human perspective, but from a Elohim perspective. And his perspective is revealed to us in the pages of the scripture. His perspective is revealed to us in Genesis through maps. Yes, we need the maps, because the maps also show in pictorial form his perspective. Nowhere in the scripture have I come across the saying, "Make America Great Again." But what I do see is a perspective of a new acronym that maybe we could live by. It's, instead of MAGA, it's MEGA or MIGA. MIGA.
I'll go there.
Okay. So I would like to coin the phrase today of the perspective of the Almighty is make Israel great again.
Yeah.
Well, you have to ask yourself a question in the midst of that. So when was Israel great? Well, Israel's greatest days, I guess, arguably, but I feel like it'd be a short argument. Israel's greatest days were under the rule of Melech David, King David.
Mm-hmm.
And so to make Israel great again would be to go not just to the time of King David, looking back to the time of King David, but looking forward to the time of the greater son of David, the Messiah and his kingdom.
Right.
People say, well, America's the greatest nation upon this earth. I can argue that one a couple of different ways. Israel's the greatest nation. No. Why? Because both of them today have a person, a man, women, men, women, human, frail people, fallen people as leadership. And so it's not that great. You've studied a lot with Dr. Sakina. Heard a lot of the things he said about what happened in the early days of the forming of America regarding the Native Americans, the indigenous people. The history of this country is not as glamorous as some people want to say. The history of Israel is not as glamorous as some people want to say. The future of Israel is what we're looking to today, or we should be, which is his kingdom upon this earth.
Right.
Your thoughts?
I want to combine two thoughts that you said. Make America great again, but for what purpose?
Exactly.
So if we're looking to just return to a nostalgic, sentimental, preferred version of our past, and where we live continually in ease and prosperity, to me, that's a shallow reason to go through all that is going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
If we are to seek to make a country prosperous and stable for the stability of society, for the safety of our families, our grandchildren, to give them a hope and a future, as Jeremiah talked about, to have the ability to proclaim the kingdom without being put in jail. There's more legitimate reasons for a better version of this nation.
Mm-hmm.
Will we ever come to a time like in this country where everybody agrees, gets along, and we just go through life without violence and fear of being robbed and murdered and riots destroying our schools and snipers killing our kids, etc.? I think that box lid is open, and I don't know that we will ever get, until Yeshua comes, that we'll ever get that back in the box. Because hearts of men are evil. Yeah. You cannot eradicate evil without an extreme measure in the earth that only Yeshua will legitimately exercise. So it doesn't matter, I won't say it that way, regardless of who takes offices and positions, evil will still express itself. Does it have to prevail? No. If America should become great again, I saw a headline that said something about Israel or America being great to enable Israel. The first line of America being great again is a robust defense of Israel. And I thought, well, there's a headline I could applaud. If America rises up to be a stronger ally and more consistent ally of Yah's people in the land, well and good. Now, is that going to be continuous? We know from Scripture that that's momentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the moment, we'll take all the momentary that we can get.
Mm-hmm.
The world's turning. The life is going on in these huge and major events. The individual, the local congregation, the family that's just trying to keep financially heads above water and make ends meet when prices on everything is out of control. We can be enamored by and captivated by the bigger pictures, and it helps us to kind of desensitize ourselves from all that's majorly affecting us. Or on the other side is, who cares what the world is doing? I'm just trying to find how enough money to pay the light bill so we can keep the lights on for the kids. I can't afford more gas in my automobile to get to work this week. Those are real issues. People are sick. People are, are having a lot of health issues and so forth. life is hard at the local level, and a conspiracy theory doesn't help you a whole lot. But the conspiracy theory that is often thrown out there is, Yah's forgotten about me.
Yeah.
That's a conspiracy theory. Or, I don't know what I did to make the devil mad, but he is sure after me right now. That's probably a conspiracy theory as well. What we're talking about is, it's life. Life is not all ease. Life is not convenience. When we went downstairs last night and found that my mom's water was leaking everywhere in her basement, and had to cut the water off. That's why we're here today. On the way up here, I was thinking, okay, what did the pioneers do? Mom was telling me earlier this week about, the years that she would go down a hill to a spring and have to bring up 2 buckets of water regularly just to have water in the house. There were no flushing toilets in the house. You went to the shack in the back.
That's right.
So life was radically different. What did you do when the snowstorms came and knocked the power out? If you had power, well, you had to figure out, can I get enough snow or whatever to boil to have drinking water? Do I have enough wood in the stove or the fireplace to keep warm? If the power went out in a cold winter snap at my house, I'd be looking for somewhere else to go because I don't have an alternative heat source.
Yeah.
So, we're not of the stock and ability of our forefathers. That being said, it's life. Life happens, good or bad, ever how we look at it. Well, everything's going my way. The Father's just blessing me. That's probably true. That's not a conspiracy. If life takes an ugly turn, it's not because he's mad at you or that the devil is after you necessarily. It could be that you're under some kind of spiritual attack. But we want to put a conspiracy about it instead of saying, Father, I don't understand. Can you give me the purpose here? What is my goal? What is it you're trying to reveal to me? What are my next steps? If we can get our emotions out of it, we can probably hear something.
That's true. That is so true. And the whole thought of people that fill themselves up, and when I say I looked at social media, I mean I didn't even I didn't even hardly read the tags. I look at the pictures, uh, but it comes down to this, Barry. We only have so much room in our life for so many things. We need to ask ourselves a question: what am I filling myself with?
Mm-hmm.
I might love Krispy Kreme donuts.
That's true. That's not a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's not a conspiracy. But if I go and eat 2 dozen of them and wonder why I don't feel good and I don't have any room for the good food that somebody cooked that's going to make me healthy, that's not a conspiracy. That was me being stupid enough to eat 2 dozen donuts. All right, and I don't have any room for anything healthy. If people spend so much time in the human perspective, don't be surprised when you don't have room for his perspective. How do you tie donuts to the scripture? I just did.
I just see you walking
There's an anointing
right now and stopping and looking at the donuts. And I just limit yourself to a box, Mike. Just one.
Well, I did. I looked at them the other day when I was at the Atlanta airport. They had Krispy Kreme there, and it was $3.50 for 3 donuts. And I said, "Goodbye. I'm walking right by you." So, see, inflation has helped some things.
Save room for the peanuts in the airplane.
That's right. All right. Hey, get to work. Get that work done around there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are holding on, and what are we doing? We're occupying until Larry comes home today.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Then we'll do a
Just be
little
thankful.
fun.
Be thankful you got Larry.
Yes. Thank you, Father, for a man with that kind of wisdom and capability.
There you
Folks,
go.
the goal today was to hopefully spark a mindset that says, I'm not going to be ruled over by what is presented in media or in the local, wherever it is you tend to get your local information, your barber shop or your fence post or your grocery store or workplace. Let Yah speak to you. Let him
There you go.
give you your insight. Thank you for sharing on your social media. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channels and for encouraging others to watch. And thumbs ups and likes on the video helps as well. And so all that, Mike, we'll see you next week, bro.
All right. And if anybody can post online the conspiracy behind why I spilled my coffee for the first time, I would appreciate it.
Let me pray about that one, brother.
Okay.
I didn't get anything.
Okay.
See you later.
Later.